Hard feelings over Obama's health care overhaul have subsided, with only about 1 in 4 people supporting its repeal. This from an AP GFK poll. Although the nation remains divided over the law, the strength and intensity of the opposition appeared diminished. 40% of those surveyed said they supported the law, and 41% opposed it. Just after the November congressional election, 38% supported the law and 47% opposed it. But as the House prepares to vote on repeal this week, public support for that has flagged. Only about 25% said they want to do away with the law completely. And even among Republicans, according to this poll, repeal draws markedly less support than it did a few weeks ago, 49% compared with 61% after the November elections. So, the media pushes on. Obamacare isn't that bad. But Jeffrey Anderson, the Weekly Standard, a widely reprinted AP story based on a AP GFK poll is entitled Opposition to Healthcare Law Eases, but don't believe it. What has eased is not the level of opposition to Obamacare, but rather the level of effort that AP GFK has made to ensure that its polling sample is representative of American voters. This is always the case when you have a poll like this, which is remarkably different than any other poll. You take a look at the sample, and you find out that the sample is miscast and flawed. When the AP GFK poll screened for likely voters a couple weeks before the election, it estimated that 48% of voters leaned Republican and that 42% leaned Democrat, which the election showed to be about right. In its latest survey, the one that serves the basis for the AP story, AP GFK did not screen for likely voters, and they did not screen for registered voters. Instead, they merely surveyed 1,001 adults. It's not enough that they didn't go after registered voters and just went to likely. They didn't do any of that. They just went 1,001 randomly chosen adults. Warm bodies. Well, some of them might have been cold. Who knows who they talked to? But the result was this. The percentage of Democrat-leaning respondents stayed the same, 42%. But the percentage of Republican-leaning respondents dropped by 12 points to 36%. So from 48 to 36% Republican sample, November poll to this one. Now, as one would expect, with the same percentage of Democrat-leaning respondents having been surveyed both times, the level of support for Obamacare remained essentially unchanged. 41% supported it, 40% support it now, just as unsurprisingly. When the percentage of Republican-leaning respondents dropped by 12 points, the level of opposition to Obamacare dropped by 11 points, from 52 to 41%. That's how they did it. And they're brazen. They keep on doing it, even though they know they're going to get caught, because they know they're going to get away with the poll. Then this ran as an AP story in who knows how many newspapers and was broadcast on however many AP broadcast affiliates. So the correction comes along at least a day or two after, maybe the same day, but still after the initial publishing of the story takes place. But it's a flawed sample. Purposely done. There's no other explanation for it. So once again, it's a poll designed to affect an outcome here rather than reflect popular sentiment. Despite the gross underrepresentation of Republican-leaning respondents, the current AP GFK poll still shows more people opposing Obamacare than supporting it, even greater opposition among those who feel strongly, overwhelming opposition to the individual mandate, and more support for repealing Obamacare in its entirety than for keeping Obamacare. There's no story here, even though AP wrote one. No matter how you look at their poll, the opposition is still a majority to it. They just want to say it's plummeting, but it's not. It's their sample that's flawed. And this is typical. This is what the mainstream drive-by media has become.